me dice, perdóname, si él no lo acepta, yo creo que ya yo puedo decir, ok, pues bueno, aquí dejo esto.
Tampoco voy a seguir soportando el abuso que se me causa.
Tu familia no siempre va a estar de tu lado. ¡Auch! Pero es la verdad.
Se destapa la cloaca. Todas cochinadas de Lupillo Rivera y toda su familia ha salido a la luz.
Yo he perdonado a mi mamá, he perdonado a mi papá, perdoné a todos mis hermanos. No los quiero cerca de los míos.
Intentar estar en un ambiente que se ha vuelto tan tóxico es una locura.
No tiene perdón. Queda al descubierto el lado más oscuro de los Rivera. Se filtra información contundente que arrastra con ella cada secreto que por años intentaron mantener bajo alfombra. Esta no es una historia de redención, es una serie de revelaciones que podrían derrumbar una dinastía entera. La familia Rivera, referente en la música regional mexicana, hoy se encuentra en el centro del huracán. ¿El motivo? Las cochinadas que han salido a la luz sobre Lupillo Rivera y todo el resto del clan familiar. ¿Qué más oculta esta familia, que se vende como ejemplo de valores? Pedro Rivera, el patriarca de la familia, fue quien sembró caos. El hombre que fundó 𝗗𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗏, también construyó un legado de traiciones. ¿Cómo olvidar a Marta Paredes, mencionada en susurrantes sueños por don Pedro mientras dormía? ¿Y qué decir del hijo ilegítimo con la madrina de la comunión de su hija? Don Pedro presumía relaciones con mujeres mucho más jóvenes mientras sus hijos se revolcaban en escándalos públicos. Doña Rosa fue la mártir silenciosa o cómplice por omisión. Por años soportó infidelidades, agravio emocional. Pero, ¿cuándo se volvió parte del inconveniente por callar? Jenni Rivera intentó abrirle los ojos, pero Rosa prefirió conservar una estructura familiar rota antes que huir del tormento. ¿Cuántas mujeres siguen este patrón por temor al juicio social? La diva de la banda, Jenni Rivera, también cayó presa del silencio familiar. Cuando supo de la relación de su padre con la esposa de un amigo, contrató un investigador. ¿Por qué no lo expuso antes? ¿Fue por resignación? Lo peor de todo es que Jenni no solo enfrentó el caos, sino que lo heredó a sus hijos. Sin embargo, Lupillo Rivera es el experto en guardar silencio. Mientras su familia se derrumba, Lupillo se mantiene al margen, sin emitir palabra alguna. Su cercanía con figuras de dudosa reputación solo refuerzan la percepción de que algo oculta. Chiquis Rivera, la hija mayor de Jenni, también ha estado en medio del escándalo. Fue apartada del testamento por una supuesta traición con la entonces pareja de su propia madre. Por otro lado, Juan Rivera presume una nueva vida, lejos del escándalo, tras haber permanecido tras las rejas y luego de un historial de consumo de sustancias nocivas. Sin embargo, en conversaciones dentro de la casa de los famosos se pudo observar los traumas que viene arrastrando desde hace años. Rosie Rivera, durante una década, administró el legado de Jenni. Pero el público aún se pregunta, ¿lo protegió o se benefició en silencio? Las disputas legales y las querellas solo confirman que el rol de albacea no fue tan desinteresado como aparentaba. Lo que parecía una familia ejemplar se ha convertido en un desastre mediático. Infidelidades, hijos fuera del matrimonio, enfrentamientos internos, querellas cruzadas y silencios selectivos. Esta es la herencia que Jenni quiso dejar. La familia Rivera no necesita enemigos. Se han hundido desde adentro.
En ese interín yo descubrí muchas cosas. Descubrí, más allá de infidelidades, descubrí deslealtades.
Pienso que ella se merece un respeto, se respete un amor, se merece un amor especial.
Hace mucho tiempo, Genesis y yo éramos novios, terminamos, ella tuvo una relación con Nicky Jam, yo tuve una relación con Gaby Espino y nos volvimos a encontrar y decidimos darnos una oportunidad.
No me interesan, o sea, no me nombren. En mi vida he estado involucrada en un escándalo y mucho menos un escándalo de este tipo.
Me subestimaba, no me valoraba como persona y yo permití ese maltrato.
Descubrí que vendía su cuerpo a otros hombres a cambio de dinero, a cambio de viajes, a cambio de regalos.
Y muchas veces nos perdemos. y dejamos de ser leal. Yo dejé de ser leal.
Comercializaba con su cuerpo a cambio de lujos. Lanzan fuertes acusaciones en contra de 𝗥𝗓𝗦𝗔𝗗𝗓𝗏. Lupillo Rivera quedó embarrado hasta las patas. Reacciona a declaraciones del exnovio de 𝗥𝗓𝗏. Un pasado que regresa con sed de escarmiento. La realidad que pocos conocían ha quedado expuesta con una crudeza desgarradora. El empresario Miguel Máguad, expareja de 𝗥𝗓𝗦𝗔𝗗𝗢, rompe el silencio con declaraciones contundentes que apuntan directamente al presente de Lupillo Rivera. Y aquí comienza la tensión. ¿Sabía Lupillo con quién se estaba metiendo? ¿Fue engañado o simplemente es parte de una estrategia emocional encubierta? Máguad, expareja de 𝗥𝗓𝗏, reveló que ella aceptó un anillo de compromiso de su parte. Lo publicó, lo presumió y lo celebró. Pero nunca lo devolvió, ni cuando fue confrontada con pruebas de infidelidad y manipulación. Me gritó. Juró hundirme. Yo cerré el capítulo con dignidad. Pero ahora, ella misma reabre la historia con sus mentiras. La interrogante es directa: ¿qué tanto sabe Lupillo y por qué no lo cuenta? Miguel Máguad no se detiene y afirma que 𝗥𝗓𝗏 no solo fue desleal, sino que comercializaba su cuerpo a cambio de viajes, regalos y dinero. Pero eso no es todo. También afirma que consumía sustancias prohibidas y que lo lesionó salvajemente al ser confrontada con pruebas documentadas. Tengo un archivo completo. Cuando la enfrenté, me azotó con furia descontrolada. Me dejó la cara deteriorada. No era la mujer que conocí. ¿Lo ignoró Lupillo o lo aceptó? Pero eso no es todo. La actriz Gaby Espino acusó públicamente haber sido blanco de una arremetida digital coordinada por las hermanas Castellano, incluyendo a 𝗥𝗓𝗏. Según Espino, un hacker contratado intentó cerrar su cuenta de Instagram en plena cúspide de su carrera en Telemundo. Esto no es juego. Llevo años construyendo mi comunidad. Y no permitiré que la acaben con dinero y conexiones sucias. Tengo pruebas. Tengo capturas. Sé quién está detrás. Y no lo voy a permitir. La actriz fue desplazada de los premios Billboard y su lugar fue abruptamente desocupado. ¿Estamos frente a una red que opera desde las sombras para silenciar a quien estorbe? Las declaraciones de Máguad revelan que la situación no es un simple escándalo amoroso, sino una estructura de manipulación emocional con tintes más oscuros. Ella estaba alterada. Estoy convencido de que actuaba bajo los efectos de sustancias ilegales. La confronté con fechas, mensajes y grabaciones. Su reacción fue de furia salvaje. ¿Y Lupillo? ¿Realmente no lo sabía? ¿Puede alguien tan expuesto públicamente desconocer el pasado de sus amistades y parejas? Y por si fuera poco, se descubrieron nuevas evidencias. Los nombres César Omaña, sancionado a 30 años, e Ismael Bracho, quien ha escapado de la ley, resuenan con fuerza. Ambos vinculados a acciones ilícitas y cercanos al entorno de las hermanas Castellano. La Interpol ya está tras la pista de este entramado. Y la reciente detención de 𝗥𝗓𝗏 en México parece ser solo la punta del iceberg. ¿Es Lupillo parte del sistema? ¿Está encubriendo un pasado que lo compromete?
I had to take care of my health before anything else, but yes, at this point it was already affecting me. So,
They searched Lupillo Rivera's house in the United States for his ties to 𝗥𝗓𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏.
no, I never wanted to back down. I held out as long as I could.
And this is the real reason why he left the celebrity's house.
These things happen, it's nature. The truth that no one dared to tell is now revealed. They searched Lupillo Rivera's house. And the reason, a federal investigation for alleged money laundering. It's not a rumor, it's a real operation with real evidence and devastating consequences. Did Lupillo get what he deserved? Is he being used as a scapegoat, or is he really a key player in a network of illicit businesses? The singer's silence only fuels suspicion. He hasn't denied anything and hasn't come forward. What is hidden behind the door of that house searched by federal agents? You won't believe it, but the documents found could completely sink his career. International agencies are investigating companies in the music sector used as a front to launder money from the transport of harmful substances. And at the center of it all is 𝗤𝗓𝗘𝗥𝗧𝗢, businessman and founder of Del Records and former manager of Lupillo Rivera. Coincidence? Coincidence? I don't think so, and the authorities are clear on it. Why did Lupillo never cut ties with 𝗓𝗏𝗧𝗢? Why does his name appear in contracts, payments, and companies registered in tax havens? This is no longer entertainment, it is a plot with legal consequences. With transactions between the United States, Mexico, and offshore territories, the network smells of illegal business and Lupillo is caught in it. The search of his home was carried out with a federal warrant. The target: electronic devices, bank records, and documents that connect him to money laundering. It lasted hours. And although Lupillo says nothing, his silence says it all. Why is he silent? Why doesn't he face the cameras? He is negotiating with the government in exchange for immunity. He is secretly collaborating while the public believes he is just a struggling singer. Just when they search him, Lupillo leaves the celebrity's house. It is a tactical move to avoid being summoned to court in the United States. He is using the reality show as a smokescreen while the operation unfolds. Signed contracts, shared companies and banking triangulations were discovered. Lupillo Rivera is finished. The artist's image has been tarnished, and if it is proven that he actively participated in these maneuvers, the consequences could include going behind bars. This is real. And this is how these cases are handled in the United States. Money laundering is not forgiven, it is punishable by decades behind bars. And while the press focuses on Lupillo, 𝗤𝗓𝗘𝗥𝗧𝗢 continues to operate in the shadows. Several of his properties have also been searched. Studios, offices and accounts frozen. What do all those under investigation have in common? Ties to entertainment and millionaire transfers disguised as investments. The pattern is repeated and the authorities know it. If Lupillo is officially charged, the punishment could include imprisonment and confiscation of assets. His career and legacy could all be wiped out in a second. And if he never sings again, what if his next scenario is a federal courtroom? He was an active part of the system. What do you think? Will he be released or will he end up behind bars? Because the FBI and the DEA are not resting. That is an exclusive that I cannot give.
That was told to me by a former DEA agent. No, I am making it up.
Because everything is already in place to avoid mistakes.
And there is a very serious investigation by the DEA that is investigating the Riveras.
Well, there is always a sacrifice. 𝗤𝗓𝗘𝗥𝗧𝗢 reveals the truth to the world. He sank Lupillo Rivera with his own secrets. Poor health or a smokescreen. The well-known journalist needed nothing more than his voice, his archive and his determination to expose the most controversial regional singer of recent years, Lupillo Rivera. The television cameras could not contain the truth. According to 𝗟𝗓𝗓𝗏, what is coming for Lupillo is not just a media scandal, it is a possible settling of scores with the United States justice system. What secrets weigh on the Rivera family name that they are trying so hard to avoid? Telemundo's version is not convincing. Telemundo assured that Lupillo's departure from the celebrity home was due to a medical complication. But 𝗟𝗓𝗓𝗏 questions how someone supposedly deteriorated could appear so calm at a gala. He should not have been under medical supervision. It is not contradictory. Was that supposed medical condition just a shield to leave the scene without facing the real challenge? The health narrative was used as an excuse to dodge an imminent legal inconvenience. 𝗖𝗍𝗧𝗧𝗧 does not hesitate, his statements are forceful. According to him, the Federal Intelligence Agency has been keeping figures in Rivera's entourage under surveillance for several years, and today Lupillo would be the center of that attention. This is not speculation. There is talk of reports, key names and relationships with people implicated in suspicious financial transactions. Is it a coincidence that his departure from the reality show is happening just as this investigation is resurfacing? Or are we facing a premeditated strategy to evade an even worse challenge? 𝗖𝗍𝗧𝗧𝗧 mentions that the authorities are following the links between Lupillo and figures such as Ángel del Villar and Gerardo Ortiz. He also mentions the relationship with radio stations that would have participated in less than transparent agreements. And the most disturbing thing is that some of these names would be collaborating with justice. Could it be that those who surrounded Lupillo, they are already talking? Is his closest circle giving out information to protect themselves? How deep does the web of complicity run? The network that broadcasts the reality show has avoided commenting beyond the initial statement, but the fact of allowing Lupillo to continue appearing at galas while he is supposedly sick is not convincing, and the public has expressed itself without censorship. On social media, the comments are relentless. Sick. So what is he doing laughing at the gala? Lupillo's condition is called payola. If he really can't enter the United States, it's because he's hiding something. 𝗖𝗍𝗧𝗧𝗧 suggests that Lupillo is not only avoiding the media, but also the feds. He has long insinuated that the singer is involved in a pattern of family cover-ups in which favors are exchanged and silence is paid. The Rivera surname has been used as a shield or warning. Is Lupillo being betrayed from the inside? Many wonder if entering the reality show to divert attention, gain public sympathy, and leave with a fabricated excuse before the truth catches up with him was part of a strategic design. Remember, I got out of the van, and the guy got in the back seat. When he got in, I got out and the guy didn't notice.
His driver and his assistant were indeed beaten up by 3 armed men who intercepted them as they were leaving an event. Let's go.
Yeah, that time they really took my driver, huh? They took my manager. What security did was get Lupillo out immediately. They stood there and told him, Lupillo, run back to the stage.
A very unpleasant experience, one I'll never forget.
He came out without any shoes, nothing. He kept going, and when I saw him he said, Artur, what's going on? This guy, do you want me? Quote, a car pulled up to us, right? And 3 guys came up to my window where I was a passenger, and they knocked on the window with him. We'll start with Lupillo Rivera, who they tried to kidnap after a performance in the state of Puebla, Mexico. They had gone a few kilometers when a car came towards them. One got out, another one followed Lupillo, and the other with the arrow. I got out of the van and escaped through the crowd. Illegal groups tried to take Lupillo Rivera by force for being a snitch. The story is more chilling than anyone believed. One random night and one more performance in Puebla ended up being a traumatic experience that left deep scars. No one saw it coming, and no one was prepared for what happened next. 3 men, 1 vehicle, and 1 intention. They weren't looking for an autograph, they didn't want a photo, they came for him, for Lupillo Rivera. The reason, according to his own words, was that they had him on file for talking too much. Suspicions point to Lupillo being labeled an informant, someone who spoke where he shouldn't have and in certain areas of the country that is unforgivable, that has to be paid for. Was it a disguised warning or a real attempt to take him away for having revealed sensitive information? The doubts do not disappear, on the contrary, they grow with the silence surrounding the case. And while the media remains silent, people wonder who wanted to take him away and why. In an act that seems straight out of a movie, Lupillo managed to evade his captors. He got out of the van, walked through the crowd, changed his clothes and returned to the event as if nothing had happened. No one noticed his absence and no one stopped him, but the scare was already sown. Was it public help or complicity? Who really protected him that night? However, the Sufjans did not leave empty-handed. They took their manager and their driver. And to this day, no one has filed a single legal action. There are no names, no faces, and no one responsible. Is this normal in Mexico? To what extent has it become normal for someone to be detained without consequences? The confrontation was not random. According to Yulo, the men confronted him because he did not want to pay rent, but something else was understood between the lines. They accused him of collaborating and labeled him a traitor. Was it covert retaliation or simply an excuse to intimidate him? The message was clear. You are not welcome. Who gave the order to leave him alone? Which groups were involved? And what did he supposedly say to anger those who should not be angered? There was not a single official statement, no intervention, and the authorities did not issue a single communique. And that in this context is more than worrying and alarming. How many times has something like this happened and we never found out? How exposed are artists in certain territories? And who really protects them? While some believe it was all true, others say it was exaggerated. But those who listen to the full testimony, those who understand the context, have no doubts. Lupillo was saved from something much bigger. They wanted to silence him forever. They let him go free by mistake or as a strategy. Luis Enrique Barragan, the Río de los Reyes or the R5, criminal operator of Cartel Unidos. When he got up from the meeting, the criminal said, "I think I'm leaving the house and not stepping foot in the United States and I'm staying in Mexico."
A video shows 3 criminal leaders allegedly seen in a palenque where Lupillo Rivera performed in Michoacán, El Saba. Lupillo Rivera laundered money with people who sold illicit substances. Among them, according to information released by the portal, are Jesus Ochoa, alias Levin, the boss of the new Michoacán family in Zamora.
The truth is revealed. Lupillo Rivera, implicated in a money laundering scandal and in dealing in illicit substances. What we thought would be just another Lupillo Rivera concert turned into an international scandal that continues to grow. Leaked images show him in direct contact with individuals identified as operators of organizations dedicated to the sale of prohibited substances in Mexico. Can evidence be ignored? How far does Lupillo Rivera's involvement go? During an event in Los Reyes, Michoacán, cameras caught Lupillo drinking and socializing with José Artemio Maldonado, alias El Michoacano, a fugitive leader of a known illicit organization. Also by his side were Luis Enrique Barragan, El Huicho, and Jesus Ochoa, both associated with networks of illicit activities. Lupillo really did not know who he was having a drink with that night, or there are ties that are being hidden at all costs. According to investigations, Lupillo Rivera would have been a key player in the laundering of capital from illicit businesses, using his events to legitimize income of dubious origin. We are facing the systematic use of music to hide illicit operations. To what extent was Lupillo aware or involved? So far, neither the government of Michoacán nor the prosecutor's office have issued a position. There are no statements and no public investigations. Is it an attempt to protect media figures or is there a real fear of confronting the magnitude of illegal networks? This is not the first time that the Rivera surname has been associated with tense situations. Jenni Rivera also allegedly faced pressure related to these networks before leaving. The pattern is now repeated with Lupillo. To what extent has regional Mexican music been contaminated by illegal interests? An investigation in California also implicates Lupillo Rivera in possible illicit benefits within the 𝗥𝗩𝗘𝗥𝗧𝗢 radio industry. Is it a coincidence that Ángel del Villar and other artists are already under investigation? Why did Lupillo ask his mother, Doña Rosa, to act on his behalf? Aware that his situation in the United States could become complicated, Lupillo reportedly said, "The way I see things, I'm not setting foot in the United States. I'm staying in Mexico until this is resolved." Quote, is this a simple precaution or a way of acknowledging that legal punishment is imminent? Many argue that Lupillo cannot control who attends his concerts, but public image carries weight. Can a figure of his stature claim complete ignorance? Or is he responsible for who he interacts with and the messages he sends, even indirectly? We're not talking about rumors. There are photographs, videos, and direct testimonies. The graphic material will end up sinking his career forever. The imminent risks for Lupillo Rivera are public association with high-risk figures and vetoes in the United States. He is prepared to assume these consequences. Experts point out that the use of artistic events to legitimize funds from illicit sources is nothing new. Was Lupillo just another pawn? Or did he know perfectly well the terrain in which he was moving? Lupillo would have sent word and asked him to do whatever he had to do to free him from the scandal that is going to break out. No, I don't regret it. The truth is that I suffer for Lupe. I suffer for you.
Of course I do. I needed to notify Lupillo urgently that something serious was happening.
Right? Well, it was.
Something that had to be done. And with an investigation by the FBI and the DEA, and that it was being investigated.
There, the lawyers are controlling that thing. On the verge of scandal, Lupillo Rivera is involved in a federal investigation that could put him behind bars. He's not going back to the United States. You can't imagine what has just been revealed. Lupillo Rivera, one of the most recognizable faces of regional Mexican music, has been exposed in a situation that could change everything. What seemed like a quiet participation in the home of celebrities has only been the prelude to a legal case involving federal agencies and an alleged network of public figures from the entertainment industry, media outlets, and even radio stations in Los Angeles. From inside the reality show, close sources assure that Lupillo was urgently called by the production, not for another scene, but to receive a warning with real consequences. His name has been linked to a federal investigation where authorities are allegedly intertwining names, dates, and movements that point directly to his entourage. Is the singer facing something bigger than we thought? Or is he just another piece on a board controlled by hidden interests? The questions do not stop and the answers begin to paint a darker picture than anyone dared to imagine. His reaction was immediate. Lupillo did not ask for a lawyer, he did not request clarification. He ordered his mother, Mrs. Rosa, to activate a control network and let out a phrase that resonated throughout the set. As I see things, I'm not setting foot in the United States. I'm staying in Mexico until this is resolved. Quote, he's evading an imminent legal instance. Why so afraid of returning to his country of residence? Does he know something he can't say out loud? The reality show hasn't only been the scene of game strategies. According to witnesses and anonymous voices from the staff, it has been revealed that some participants would have received candy, a term used to avoid naming illicit substances hidden in unexpected places, behind religious images, inside confessionals, and among sacred objects. Who allows these practices? How can religious symbolism be used as a refuge to hide this type of thing without anyone stopping it? This is no longer just a reality show, it is a representation of television impunity, and everyone wants to know who is behind this level of permissiveness. The shadow of the federal agency is nothing new to the Rivera family. Rumor has it that Jenni Rivera was investigated before her departure for alleged connections to money laundering networks, and now her brother is in the same place. Is it a coincidence or part of a larger structure that we are only just beginning to understand? The connection to figures like Ángel del Villar and Gerardo Ortiz complicates the story further, and the fact that Lupillo's former manager now represents the featherweight team further ties the pieces of the puzzle together. While some fall due to strategy or by simple decision of the public, others seem shielded. Pati Navidad continues to not provide visible content, but she remains. Maripili, Niurka and other names survive week after week without a clear explanation. Interests are being protected. Who is being protected by silent agreements? And most disturbingly, Lupillo is part of that agreement with the production in exchange for keeping certain mouths shut. It is no secret that Lupillo maintains contact with show executives, including the executive producer. The question is inevitable. Is he manipulating the moves inside the reality show? Is he allowed to intervene to keep himself safe while things outside fall apart? So far he has not been nominated. It all started as a hallway leak. Now the story is much more serious. The ongoing investigation seems to gain momentum with each new revelation. Names, bank statements, and shady relationships are leaked. And Lupillo is at the center of it. How much more can he hide? What will happen when he leaves the house? Will the authorities be waiting for him, or will someone manage to divert the case once again? Lupillo Rivera is no longer just another contestant. He is the key piece in a puzzle that could dismantle an entire industry. This has been hidden for years until now.
Ángel del Villar's connection to the Spanish-language radio station that you know which one it is, that worked with all these producers, has just come to light. So,
many texts that we still sent each other. It's already happened. They simply never talk about the good, they always focus on the bad and, well, what can I say?
Ángel del Villar is suing again, and that lawsuit includes the payola of a radio station here in Los Angeles.
I'm going after my dreams, and here is the effort of achieving all that effort.
Brian Gutierrez is suing Ángel del Villar. Breaking news.
And he told me what he had to say, and I told him what I had to say, and from there, everything became very clear. All hell breaks loose. Ángel del Villar is at the darkest point of his career. Conclusive information is leaked that reveals the truth about the blackmail through the records label. The reality that for years was hidden by those who wielded power from the shadows of the industry has come to light. Ángel del Villar's name no longer shines for his recording successes or for his closeness to Chiquis Rivera. Today his empire is faltering. Today a crack is opening up that could bring down everything he built. However, this information that has come to light makes us wonder, is this punishment fair, or are we just seeing the tip of the iceberg? It all began with a court hearing that rocked Los Angeles. Brian Gutierrez, former director of government relations for Del Records, broke his silence. The testimony was direct, without beating around the bush. He accused Del Villar of harassment, intimidation and wrongful termination after cooperating with authorities in a federal investigation. But the real shock came with what it revealed was direct extortion of a Spanish-language radio station in exchange for intensive airplay for the label's artists. A legal discovery that can no longer be turned off. The radio, which was supposed to offer what the public demands, was manipulated. The success was bought. The popularity charts were engineered. How many songs that were played over and over again were actually chosen by the audience? How many artists were robbed of their opportunity because they couldn't pay for airplay? Who else was on the payroll? According to the case file, this was not an isolated practice. It was a system set up to build fame based on checks. Producers, announcers, executives and names are beginning to emerge, but many more have yet to be revealed. However, what was recently revealed was unexpected by no one, because this is not just about 𝗷𝗚𝗘𝗦𝗘𝗥𝗧𝗢. This drags many people down with it, and the most disturbing thing is that some of them are still being heard on the most important stations today. 𝗥𝗚𝗰𝗄𝗧 Rivera knew something. 𝗥𝗚𝗰𝗄𝗧 Rivera's partner is currently in the eye of the storm. Her signature appears to be linked to a scheme to buy radio slots. But the big question is, who else was there? 𝗥𝗚𝗰𝗄𝗧 was aware of what was happening while she shared her life and business with 𝗘𝗏𝗏𝗧. And in the middle of the scandal another name emerges, Gerardo Ortiz. Is he willing to talk? Will he be an implicated witness or a scapegoat in this whole setup? It is already said that he has key information. What he says could blow up the entire structure. On the other hand, Brian Gutierrez is not a figure of power. He doesn't have any records, no contracts, and no millions, but he has something that can no longer be ignored. The truth is, his testimony, marked by his Asperger's diagnosis, is all the more powerful because it shows how they tried to silence someone who spoke out with justice. He said it without hesitation. He was fired for collaborating with the federal agency. He was emotionally abused for raising his voice in the midst of a structure built to silence him. This is no longer just a media scandal. It's a story of institutional grievance, large-scale manipulation, and systemic injustice. And it's also a reflection of an industry that for years protected those who knew how to play dirty. How much is a song worth on the radio? The clues say it all. Down Records paid high fees to ensure that their songs would dominate the airwaves. It wasn't promotion, it was total control. How many real careers were ruined because they weren't part of that circle? What seemed like just a publicity advantage was actually a business structured to eliminate competition. Talent wasn't enough, you had to pay to exist. This won't stop with 𝗷𝗚𝗘𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏. Authorities are already reviewing connections, contracts and transfers. The domino effect is underway, and the most alarming thing is that many record labels and well-known figures could be involved. At this point, the public is also wondering, what is behind the hits we hear every day? "Leave before the federal agency catches you," was said on one of the programs that covered the hearing. A phrase that no longer sounds like an exaggeration, it sounds like a real warning. Divine justice arrives, names are leaked, accounts are reviewed and new subpoenas are prepared. What once seemed untouchable is now in the hands of the judicial system. And so the question that no one can avoid is raised. Did only one fall? Or is an entire industry built on lies collapsing? Because if you have
𝗷𝗚𝗘𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏 linked to Jenni Rivera's death. New evidence is leaked linking 𝗷𝗚𝗘𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏 to Jenni Rivera's tragedy.
The chilling truth is leaked. The hidden link between 𝗷𝗚𝗘𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏 and the crash of Jenni Rivera's plane has been exposed. You can't imagine what has just been discovered. The information that is leaked changes everything we thought we knew about Jenni Rivera's death. The official story is shaken and hidden connections begin to come to light. 𝗥𝗑𝗩𝗘𝗥𝗧𝗏 has something to do with the unfortunate event. Why does Johnny Lopez, Jenni's own son, seem to be betraying his mother's memory? The latest revelations have put the name of 𝗥𝗩𝗘𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏 at the center of a storm of scandals. His past with Jenni Rivera was not only a failed romance, but it is possible that it was much darker than we imagined. For years, 𝗘𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏 has been singled out for his connections to illegal networks. What seemed to be a simple, successful businessman in the music industry is now falling apart. He was recently accused and found guilty of maintaining business relationships with a promoter linked to illegal organizations. But what really sets off alarms is that his story is beginning to intertwine with the event that took Jenni Rivera's life in 2012. If all this is true, then we could be facing one of the most shocking revelations in recent times. For years, the public believed that Jenni Rivera's plane crash was an unexpected event, but new evidence casts doubt on that version. There are rumors that Jenni Rivera was in the middle of a dispute with powerful figures in the industry, and some versions suggest that her fate was already sealed. Now, with the trial against 𝗗𝗘𝗦𝗔𝗗𝗢 and the confirmation of his ties to characters of dubious reputation, the suspicions have gained strength. If this theory is true, Jenni Rivera's death would not have been the result of chance, but rather one more piece in a much larger puzzle. But what no one saw coming was what Johnny Lopez, Jenni Rivera's youngest son, did. He was recently seen publicly supporting 𝗗𝗘𝗦𝗔𝗗𝗢 in the trial. How is it possible for a son to side with a man with whom his mother had such a murky relationship? Is Johnny ignoring everything Jenni suffered to side with a man who could be implicated in her mother's death? Social media reacted with outrage. Thousands of fans call him Johnny and Judas Lopez and do not forgive his attitude. The outrage has grown, and for many this is a direct betrayal of Jenni Rivera's memory. However, there are those who defend the young man, claiming that 𝗘𝗏𝗧 was a father figure to him after his mother's death. He grew up seeing him as someone he could trust, and perhaps his support is nothing more than an expression of misplaced loyalty. And as Alejandro Fernandez said in court now, Gerardo Ortiz has just named Alejandro Fernandez. Do you understand that?
I have had several reports where they have told me that they have been asking for money from fake accounts. The FBI already has their sights on the name Alejandro Fernandez. With how dirty the Fernandezes are in general, I would never do something like that. I would never use your affection to ask for money. Alejandro Fernandez could be summoned to the Los Angeles court.
Alejandro Fernandez implicated in the case of 𝗗𝗘𝗦𝗔𝗗𝗢. His career is at risk. You can't imagine what has just come to light. Information leaks that puts Alejandro Fernandez at the center of an unprecedented scandal. An unexpected twist that no one saw coming is shaking the music industry and could mark the end of one of the most iconic careers of regional Mexican singers. The question is clear. Did he get what he deserved, or are we facing a conspiracy that seeks to destroy his reputation? Alejandro Fernandez is in the sights of the federal agency. The truth is that few dare to say. The international organization does not play games. When it sets its sights on someone, it is because there are compelling reasons. And now Alejandro Fernandez's name appears mentioned in the case that has 𝗗𝗘𝗦𝗦𝗧𝗏 against the ropes. It all began with Gerardo Ortiz's statements in the federal court of Los Angeles. Ortiz revealed that he was pressured to perform at events organized by promoter Jesus Chucho Perez, despite having received official warnings not to do so. But here comes the shocking part. Alejandro Fernandez allegedly ignored the same warning and still participated in suspicious events. And for the federal agency, this is no minor detail. Could he be called to testify in Los Angeles? Did he really know what kind of events he was participating in? Is his silence a sign of guilt, or is he simply waiting for the right moment to speak out? What seemed like just another case within the industry has turned into a media storm. And the worst part is that no one knows how far this scandal will go. Johnny Rivera is the defender of the indefensible. Just when everything seemed to be centered around 𝗗𝗘𝗦𝗧𝗏 and Alejandro Fernandez, another name appears on the radar: Johnny Rivera. Images leaked showing him in court supporting 𝗗𝗘𝗦𝗧𝗏. But the big question is, why? Many on social media are questioning his loyalty. Some believe that Johnny has lived in the shadow of his mother Jenni Rivera's inheritance and that now he is only looking to stay relevant in the industry with strategic moves. Is he unknowingly getting involved in something much bigger? Is he looking to protect personal interests more than the truth? Or is he simply being used as another piece in this power game? This scandal has gone too far, and those who once seemed like allies are now under scrutiny. If there is one testimony that has changed the course of this case, it is that of Gerardo Ortiz. What he revealed to the prosecution has left everyone speechless. Ortiz changed sides, decided to talk and made a deal with justice, delivering information that now puts the big names of regional Mexican music in trouble. But here comes the hard part. Ortiz directly mentioned Alejandro Fernandez in his testimony. Is he telling the truth or is he just looking to reduce his sentence? Was Fernandez really aware of the shady links behind these events, or is his name being used to divert attention from those truly responsible? The only thing that is clear is that the federal agency is behind this and will not stop until it finds all the pieces of the puzzle. A larger network will be uncovered. This scandal does not end here. It has been confirmed that the authorities are placing certain radio programmers in Los Angeles under surveillance, as local stations could be involved in a possible money laundering scheme. Are there more artists involved in this plot? More names will come to light in the coming days. Will Alejandro Fernandez clear his name, or will this mark the beginning of his decline? As the investigations continue, the tension in the music industry is palpable. It's no longer just rumors, now there are court documents, witnesses, and leaks that change everything. Alejandro Fernandez is between glory and the abyss. Alejandro Fernandez's career has been marked by success, but this episode could become the biggest challenge of his career. So far, he has not been formally charged with anything. However, the mere fact that his name appears in a case of this magnitude is enough to raise doubts and affect his public image. Is Alejandro Fernandez innocent of the controversy, or is there something more behind his name in this case? To what extent will his silence work against him? Will his career collapse due to this scandal? The coming weeks will be crucial. If the Americans decide to take the next step, we could be facing a scandal that will shake the history of regional Mexican music forever. What do you think? Is Alejandro Fernandez guilty, or is he just a victim of a campaign against him? Leave us your comment, subscribe for more updates and activate the notification bell because this is not over yet.
Where just a few minutes ago 𝗲𝗚𝗏𝗏 was found guilty of 11 federal charges that include conspiracy. I have a lot of faith that it will turn out as it has to. Everything is going to be fine. I am a super positive person.
The judge is directly, going around with the prosecutor also that they could talk about between 25 years, 30 to 25 years.
I am grateful, I am happy, I am satisfied with the results, and I will tell you why.
Unfortunately, the 11 charges that have come out of this businessman, 𝗲𝗚𝗏𝗏, and more than anything the entertainment company.
Where is that person working? Who is that person working with? They say that the enemy of a Mexican is another Mexican. Then
𝗲𝗚𝗏𝗏's dark ties are discovered and he is put behind bars for 30 years. You can't imagine what just happened. News that shakes the world of regional Mexican music is confirmed. Industry magnate 𝗲𝗚𝗏𝗏 is about to receive his verdict. But what few people know is that this case is not just about a trial, it is a Pandora's box that could explode at any moment, dragging down more than one renowned artist. Authorities have revealed information that changes everything we thought we knew. Will it be justice, or is this another case where money and power rule everything? But before you jump to conclusions, wait until you hear what comes next, because what you are about to learn could change the history of regional Mexican music forever. An empire has fallen, ladies and gentlemen, and Ángel del Villar went from success to confinement. The man who dominated regional Mexican music with his record label is in the eye of the storm. How did he go from the heights of success to almost spending 30 years behind bars? Everything points to a series of illegal ties that put him in the crosshairs of international organizations. It is said that his fortune grew thanks to connections with groups that no one dares to mention in public. Now justice has spoken and the charges against him are devastating. But here comes the most shocking part. Is he really the only one guilty, or are there more names involved? There are 11 charges that could sink him forever. The evidence is overwhelming. He is accused of having facilitated clandestine networks through his record company. Unpublished documents and testimonies are revealed that could sink him for many years. His legal team tries desperately to dismiss the accusations, but each new revelation makes the chances of acquittal vanish. August 15th is the key date. That day we will know his fate. But there is something that many wonder: will he really face the full penalty, or will he manage to negotiate his way out? To everyone's surprise, there is an enmity that returns from beyond the grave. This is where the story becomes even more chilling. It is confirmed that Jenni Rivera, son of Jenni Rivera, was present at the hearing. And this raises a disturbing question. Ángel del Villar had something to do with the fate of the diva of the band. Let's remember that Jenni Rivera had problems with powerful people in the media, including del Villar. Was her departure related to these networks of influence? The rumors have gained strength in recent days. Will the truth be revealed in this trial? According to recent leaks, there is a secret vault with millions in cash, and international organizations in the United States are thoroughly investigating this theory. The story takes an unexpected turn. There is talk of the existence of a hidden vault in Orange County, where del Villar hid large sums of money. Witnesses claim that this vault was visited by artists and businessmen in the media, which has set off alarms for the authorities. What secrets does this vault hide? Partners, transactions and movements are being investigated that could reveal a covert financing network. If this is confirmed, we would be facing one of the biggest scandals in the history of Latin music. Now Gerardo Ortiz is in the crosshairs of the investigations. Revenge is on the way. Here's an even riskier question. Rumors are leaking of a silent feud between del Villar and Gerardo Ortiz. The two have had differences in the past. But if Ángel del Villar falls, it could mean a settling of scores in the music industry. Insiders are already talking. If Ortiz is also targeted, we could be facing a wave of unexpected arrests. Del Villar to negotiate with government. Facing a possible 30-year prison sentence, there's a possibility that few have considered. We know that in similar cases, some defendants have managed to reduce their sentences by collaborating with the authorities. Del Villar is willing to reveal the darkest secrets of the industry in exchange for a reduced verdict. Gerardo Ortiz has been singled out in the past for making similar moves to avoid greater consequences. Will del Villar follow the same path or face his fate in silence? It's also been learned that 𝗥𝗡𝗏, his wife, could be the next to be investigated. While the businessman faces the trial of his life, his wife is trying to stay out of the scandal. But the question is unavoidable. To what extent did she know about her husband's business dealings? Legal experts warn that in these types of cases, the partners of the accused could also be investigated if evidence is found implicating them. 𝗥𝗡𝗏 could face her own trial in the future, And more people are going to dance here because international agencies already have more suspects in their sights. The investigations are just beginning. Experts say that this could be just the first case in a wave of arrests that will shake regional Mexican music. The questions everyone is asking are, will more names involved in this network be revealed? Will there be surprise arrests in the coming months? Are we witnessing a radical change in the entertainment industry? The possible sanction of Ángel del Villar is not only an impact on his career, but on the entire music industry. This story is far from over. As the investigations progress, hidden secrets will continue to come to light. Are we witnessing the beginning of the fall of an empire, or is this just the tip of the iceberg? Leave us your opinion in the comments. Do you think Ángel del Villar is guilty, or is he the subject of a larger conspiracy? Ángel del Villar breaks his silence after his conviction. Since the beginning of this process, the businessman has maintained a firm stance. In his first statements, he claimed to have been influenced by a colleague within the company, arguing that all activities were carried out in accordance with regulations. According to his testimony, he fully trusted in the legality of each move within the company, without imagining that the outcome would be so shocking. This statement has generated all kinds of reactions, as some believe his version, while others see it as a strategy to reduce his responsibility for the events. When his sentence was announced, Ángel del Villar surprised everyone with his reaction. According to a prominent journalist from the neighboring country, the businessman showed no signs of nervousness or distress. Instead, with complete calm, he sent a direct message to one of his relatives. "If I don't look affected, don't worry. I waited 5 years for this." His words suggested that he had anticipated this moment and that he was ready to face any consequences. His attitude has raised questions, since it is not common for someone to receive such a severe punishment without flinching. In addition, amidst the controversy, del Villar used his social media to share a message that many interpreted as a dig at Gerardo Ortiz. In his post, he insinuated that there are those who resort to falsehood to avoid consequences, but that reality always prevails. His words have sparked speculation about possible betrayals within the profession. To close on a defiant note, he expressed that he would rather face confinement than sign compromising documents. Will this be the businessman's final word, or are there still surprises to be discovered? Remember that you are on the Celebrity Gossip channel. Watch this video, which is much better. You'll surely love it. Don't hesitate to subscribe and like this video. In addition, we invite you to explore our other videos so you can always stay up to date on what's happening in the world of entertainment.